phase. Okay, any more discussion? Can we get back here? All right, call for the vote. All in favor? Ayes, all the way across. Motion carries. Okay,
Thank you.
don't go put it together yet, okay?
No, we'll
Okay.
wait till after
All
the
right.
city council, or
Okay.
the town council,
Perfect.
right?
Okay,
Should be okay.
now, I don't know, how far away are we from city council? We're only a week away.
Right.
I don't know if it will be on the agenda in 6 days.
How do
They
you want to call
usually-
Mary? Is that?
Well, they usually have 30 days. So things come onto the agenda, like our meeting cuts off the 1st for the 3rd Wednesday. I'm not sure when the city council one cuts off.
See what happens as people start.
I know she's already sent out a questionnaire for what was on the agenda. So let me check and see if we can get it on the agenda with this recommendation.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
So you'll go ahead and send me that recommendation. And we'll see if we can get that.
Yeah, flash for you in the morning.
Okay. We'll see if we can get that. Very good. Okay.
One thing that might help the cause there, Eric, is to make sure they're aware that we had to quit planning and zoning back.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. Good point, Kim.
That doesn't guarantee anything.
I know.
It does happen.
Sure.
Yeah, once I have the letter of recommendation, we'll see if I can get that forwarded right away or something, looks like this. Okay, very good. Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And thanks for the packet, the
Yeah.
information, that made it a lot easier.
That's a lot easier.
Okay, that takes us to item number 3. Let's just wait a minute here. Clear if they want to clear, stay if they want to stay. Okay, did everybody have a chance to look at the next item? It's a general plan recommendation for moderate income housing. We sent a recommendation to adopt the general plan. I changed my vote at the council meeting to have them hold it. So this moderate income portion could be added to our general plan. Everybody have a chance to review that? So what we're looking for tonight is a recommendation to council to adopt that and attach it to the general plan. Anybody have any? We tried to keep it fairly general.
That one? Yeah.
It's a requirement the state's put on municipalities to have this incorporated for moderate income families to have housing available in all the cities and towns. So you can see as they do the math on the state standard that we need 11.
11 units.
11 units over the next 5 years. We need 11 units that fall into moderate income housing. Now granted, the town doesn't,
That's 11 more than we already have, right?
yeah, yeah,
Just so everybody's, maybe
Yeah.
it wasn't to that meeting, just
yeah.
following what I followed.
And so we actually went down a little bit last month. It's kind of strange because they go off the county's mean income, not the towns. So they go off the county, so it's taking the entire area, and then they divide that between the residents we have. And that's how we arrive at that number 11. Mountain Land Associations of Government ran these numbers. And so, as you know, the town doesn't set the price of houses, and so that's what's stated in here. That the price of housing is really not up to the town. We can encourage that in development and by giving credits or incentives to developers to have that included in there. But we have RA1 zoning, which is where this would probably come into play. in the RA5 zone, highly doubtful that this will ever come into play in that.
So what about, could we say that by allowing people to build on the non-conforming lots of record, we've been able to hold housing prices down? Because some of those are an acre or less. Are there any of those that we could count?
Well, it has to hit below that price. That's the problem. It's even though the housing demand is so high,
Right.
the price gets out of this range.
One other option they talked about was
Maybe house on a
allowing,
1 acre lot.
like, small mother-in-law type, apartments on a house.
Mhm.
That's another option that they talked about in that meeting, that we could have, make it easier to allow that to happen as a planning department. I don't know how we'd go about it, but it is something that we could do to accommodate that.
Yeah, really what the city
Small
holds is the
one-bedroom
zoning.
apartments or something like that. It's something that we could make a recommendation to the city council to allow to be built or converted in a home.
Or how about above, I don't wanna say above barns, but at least people know what I'm talking about, the nicer barns, to have an apartment above a barn, could we encourage that kind of?
A
is there-
caretaker's residence.
Well, you can encourage that. The problem with those, and what we have right now is
Right,
the pristine water allows 1 septic per 5 acre.
right,
And so if you put an apartment in now, you have a separate. You're increasing the density of the septic from 1 single family dwelling.
But then there's the alternative on-site solutions that if a person wants to roll the dough, can have the clean water to put back into the environment.
It's true.
And they can use it to,
Pushes you out of the moderate income.
use it to water your, well,
lawn,
that's a matter of perspective. If the property owner wants to roll the dough to make an apartment,
Okay, but
they can roll the dough to make the apartment and come to that code.
That's true. Anybody that wants to make one of these,
As far as septic goes, not all septics are the same size or the same capacity. So
right,
if you're putting in a septic and it has the capacity for the additional occupants of the property, would that not be allowed?
that would be up to the health department. All of the septic goes through the health department.
Okay.
We use them as our health department.
So when
By their
you
standards.
apply for a septic, the first question I ask you is how many bedrooms are you gonna have or equivalents?
Right.
Now, if you've got a mother-in-law apartment that's an equivalent of 1 more bedroom, why couldn't that work?
I don't know, that's totally something you'd have to run through the health department.
Yeah, we kind of ran into that with the residential housing thing in Big Hollow, whether the septic's big enough or not.
oh, yeah.
And so I'm not sure that that's a limitation. I'm trying to think right now, our code for mother-in-law apartments is it has to be a relative that lives in them, right?
Right, and non-rentable, and within the main structure.
But I thought maybe we could change that to be, it is rentable, but only if the owner of the property is living on site, so that they have to deal with any problems. Or something like that would make sense.
Yeah, well, and then we have to look at any rules you make, you have to police, so.
Well, I know, and I'm sure that the one we have now is being treated basically like what I'm saying we suggest. So whether we really have a change or not, it may be a way we can comply with this.
It might, yeah.
And whether it really causes a change or not, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And there's really not gonna be anybody show up and say you're not doing this, because they realize there's only so much we can do. We're over zoning, that's the biggest component the town has.
Okay, and then that brings me to my question. As I read through this, I was reminded of that meeting in which that gentleman from across the highway up there by the port of entry was looking to do that development, 1 acre lots. Would that be something that would be?
It depends on the price. I don't know what the price is going for on those, so that kind of encouragement where you're looking at a mixed development, commercial in the front, you could make that a condition of
Well,
making commercial in the front.
in the meeting that we had with him, basically, we left the meeting saying, oh, we need to stick with 5 acre lots. But if we do the 1 acre lots, a 1 acre piece of dirt is a whole lot less money than 5 acres of dirt.
I didn't think we left the meeting with 5 acres.
No, we didn't.
I thought it was 1 acre in the back and commercial in the front,
I was not aware of that. I thought that we
so,
said we were gonna stick with the existing 5 acre.
yeah.
I'll have to go back and look at that again.
Yeah, matter of fact, we sent him up to the existing house that was there to include that piece.
Okay.
So he wasn't going around, and that's a 1 acre piece
Well,
there.
would there be 11 lots in that if he were to do that?
He's bigger than acre.
No, because he was doing commercial on the front.
Okay, so there were quite a few 1 acre lots.
There was, I think 7, goes back and around the circle.
So that's getting closer to 11 than what we've got now.
Yeah,
Tracy's bigger.
yeah, Tracy's house is in that, yeah.
That was the one we sent him to talk to, right? It was Tracy.
Right, he was gonna go check with them and, because it just looked like it was cut out of it. And so to be part of that, we sent him to do that.
Well, is my understanding mixed up, or would that be something that would fit into this?
It may, until the price is set on the house, you don't know.
Well,
If it's a median.
Right, and we didn't make any decisions on that, we were just trying to provide guidance of what would work, what wouldn't, so.
Yeah, yeah, so you wouldn't know until you have that dollar amount that's on your second page. It tells you what those, what the projection is gonna be and what it would be.
So this one, future demand. Which page is that?
It seems like 1 acre would even be hard to make the moderate.
I think so.
Wouldn't,
Have you got that second page on
you bet.
To me, when I looked
Was
at
that
it,
on the
it seems
website?
like a lot.
Yeah, so this is the one I sent out to you.
Yeah.
It seems like a prefab.
So which one of these are we?
For the lot, and then you've got the well, and you've got septic, and you've got.
All these would probably be.
So you can see the ones in 2010,
Yeah.
one's in 2016, and then the 2023. Those are just different years that you hit. Everything in the future is a guess, everything in the past, they have numbers they can walk into. So that's what, that's the projection they push out. And so they have a plan, that's all they want us to have. Part of this plan is required for our loan and grant money for Storm Haven well, which is at, I think Brian told me just shy of $300,000 right now.
Let's approve.
So, I know I sent out an email, I said 130, but it's gone up. So there's some other folks that haven't taken advantage of those, and they've asked us if we could spend it. So that goes a long ways to habitating that well up in that area.
Well, I really don't think that without major changes to our zoning, that we could meet this with single-family homes. And that's why I'm thinking if we could change the accessory unit.
Well, you remember, probably been a year ago, we tried to push caretaker unit, and that wasn't accepted well. Because of what was going on in Charleston, we could see what it was doing, caretaker dwelling.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting caretaker dwelling, I'm saying
Right.
the same, it's gotta be within the building envelope,
But rentable.
but rentable. And that's all I'm saying, is it's rentable, and we know that's going on in a lot of places anyway, but I don't know that that's so bad. The thing that I'd hate to see is rented house, rentable unit. I think it's great when the property owner's there to make sure that things are good.
Yeah.
When you get two renteds, then we may get some things that we really don't wanna have.
Yeah, so, yeah, when you say that, the owner has to be on site.
Yeah, the owner has to live on site and they can rent the accessory unit to whoever they want to, as long as there's parking and, there
Meet the
needs to be off-street
standards.
parking and meets standards.
Yeah. So those are all things we can look at.
We need to put something like that on one of our agendas and really address it as our general plan before we go ahead and send the recommendation on again.
So that's more of a zoning question than a general plan.
So I'm just saying that council probably wants something fairly quick to be qualified for the grants, right?
Just, this plan qualifies us for the,
Oh, okay.
we have this plan in place, that qualifies us for the grant. So whatever tweaking we need to do to the plan, we need to do that right away. As far as zoning, we can do that all year long.
Oh, okay. It's good if there's no hurry.
That usually goes in front of the council in November. So it should be done here in July, should be in front of the council in November. That's how the zoning changes go, according to our code. We can change that too.
So the question is, do we have options to meet this plan? And if we do, then I think we should move ahead.
We have options, but we'd have to make any decisions on the
Right.
options, right?
Right. And we don't have to
We have
yet.
options.
We have time to look at them.
Did
So do we
anybody
need
need
to-
a copy of it?
Do we need to put something on our agenda to cover the options? And then they get discussed in time for November, or July? Or do we just leave it as it is?
We'll put it on the agenda for sometime after my term ends.
When is that?
I don't know.
I think you make a great point. I think we ought to have that. But I don't think that they ought to be called mother-in-law units because that implies they wouldn't be rented. They would be just,
Family member.
yeah, family
Well,
members.
you pay the price one way or the other.
Yeah, that's true, but,
But I,
Well, listen, Mr. Hatch, what makes you think you're gonna leave?
You need to.
I didn't,
You just said that, right? You just talked.
I'm just talking.
Okay, so any more
So-
discussion? Are we ready for a motion on that? Anybody need to change anything? I mean, did copy?
what are we after tonight?
We're looking for a
This-
motion for the council to adopt this in the general plan.
The moderate income housing
Yeah, it's moderate
Plan.
income housing element.
element. I'm like, what do you call this thing?
Can
Oh,
we add
element.
elements of what Gary had said?
Element.
Throw carry a motion.
I don't think we want to
Okay, never mind.
We don't wanna what?
add anything to that at this point, but we do have to revisit it over the next year.
Yes, and this is revisited, I believe this element is every 2 years. So if you slack off, we'll be doing another one in 2 years.
Yeah, I think you're right, it was 2 years, I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, so our general plan is every 5 years, but this element has to be every 2 years. Which leads me to believe we'll be updating the general plan every 2 years.
Kind of looks that way.
Maybe.
I mean, if you're gonna hold the public hearing, I can't see just for the moderate income part of it.
Might as well do it all.
You're right, so that's what I look to see, the way that it's headed. But it's a legislature, they're definitely passing a lot of rules for municipalities, changes every time they meet, so hard to keep up on. Okay, entertain a motion for, against?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the town council that we accept the moderate income housing element plan. Plan, is that the right word? Plan. As written.
Okay. Have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, have a motion and a second, any discussion? Any more discussion, I should say? Seeing none, call for the vote, all in favor? Everybody, 100%. Awesome. Okay. That takes us to our next item, planner report. That's about it. Okay, this is what's been going on in October. And a whole bunch more has been going on in November, but it's not in this report.
This is October.
Right. We're in November now.
Really?
That report doesn't come out till the end of the month.
Got 4 more days.
I know, but there's a lot more going on. November's been very busy.
Here, I have a quick question. I've never been to one of these meetings.
Okay.
Is it appropriate if we have like just maybe a recommendation or something just that we think maybe is a good opinion to voice that during this, or just like,
You raise your hand, I'll call on. I will. Okay.
Casually.
So what you guys just voted on, if there's town members that are already doing this in some form or format, you guys might be able to go about this fashion and getting these 11 low-income homes without having to change anything. If you recognize those homes that are being rented, or open that up, and then isolating those, you might not have to change any zoning for the area. You might have to make a bunch of R1s and a bunch of tiny little homes for this. You might just have to open that up so that people can rent out and not constrict it so much, so you don't get more homes. You just let what is already built with mother-in-law apartments or basement apartments or different things to do that. So I don't know if that's even, that's just thought.
But super thought. Right now, it's illegal to do that.
And that's what I'm saying.
So-
I understand that it is.
I don't want to
I'm
step
just-
forward now.
I'm just saying, like, if, I don't even live in Daniel yet.
Come on, let's hold you up.
I got about a month to go.
All right.
We'll be here shortly.
Okay.
Yay.
But anyways, I'm just, I
Yeah,
know it's
that's-
illegal, but I mean, just like, I was recognizing that then there's like, oh, I don't have to build 11 more lots. I'm just recognizing units that we can transition that are
Make them known.
legal or illegal, whatever the term, however you want to qualify that, but then you don't have
Yeah.
11 new homes to qualify there. So I think the concept was, that you had, I don't know your name, I'm sorry,
Gary, wait.
Gary.
And I think you're right, and there's some that have apartments that aren't renting them because they can't legally rent them, but
Right.
I think we could make some,
And what's your
make
name,
that
sir?
workable.
My name's Jeremy Charchenko. So we're buying Ralph Hilton's place, Neil Hilton's place.
On Big Hollow?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So was you guys here for when Susan came in? So you heard
No,
all?
I didn't hear the very beginning, we came in a
Oh,
little late,
okay,
so
all right. These folks will probably be on the agenda next month.
perhaps.
For a lot of the same things that's going on with the Kohler parcel.
Oh, boy.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, so we have a few of these around that, as we open this up, with the smaller road standard of 100 feet, I mean, that opened up some of these back lots that were never buildable, but that could be now.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
and a lot depends on when it was subdivided.
yeah,
So it was subdivided during the 70s. It's probably an illegal subdivision, and there's not a whole lot that would happen, so I don't know.
well, I think, if you can make it to meet the requirements of that,
Well, yeah, if you make it meet current requirements, then no problem.
yeah. So there might be some lot line adjustments and things that we can do that, as we did up on Little Sweden, for that couple up there, couple lots up there. So we're trying to work through that, because we recognize that that is an issue. There is property in the back, that's a little farm in front, house, farms, so a lot of that property. Okay, super, thank you. Okay, you guys have any questions on the planning report? Is anything on there that's,
Is the complaint for the dust, noise, all that, an ongoing one again from the last?
no, we had a new complaint, Dan Brown has been hauling in a lot of topsoil and doing his landscaping, and they didn't know that that's what he was doing, so they came down and issued a complaint. I said, he's landscaping his yard, so. They hauled in a bunch in there, a bunch of topsoil, screen.
Well, it sounds like the complaint was filed, or was done by Mr. Brown.
No, that's who it was filed upon.
Oh, I see, okay.
So,
Mr. Brown was the guy hauling in.
right, so that's one of the lots in 3 farm subdivision that was approved, and they're just doing their landscaping down there.
Okay, it seemed like that was on the last month's, when we met in
Another noise.
in August, I guess it was, when we met last.
Could have been,
It is, it's right there.
yep.
It just doesn't have Dan Brown with it.
Yeah.
Good,
Okay.
good memory.
Well, I was wondering if it was the same person possibly, or there was more.
Yeah, and we've had more this month for smoke and some other things going on. Like I said, November's been very busy, so.
Can you burn in this area, your leaves and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I
Yeah,
thought
they
so.
lifted the burn restrictions.
Right, so you can, if I want to burn my leaves in my house, in my house, it's okay. Probably not the best option, but.
Bill might have something to say
Your
about
I
it.
think you still have to get a permit, technically.
You should get a permit.
Or at least call the fire department. Tell them
Okay,
what you're
well, I'm
doing.
not planning on it, but I just have seen a lot of people burning, so I did.
We got a
was
complaint
uneducated.
this month, somebody burning some leaves, and they just got their windows washed, and this is coming right over and sticking to their windows,
Oh,
and
they were not happy.
they haven't lived in Daniel very long, and they didn't realize that that happened.
That's very bad to see.
Yeah, and so that's part of an agricultural zone, agricultural burning. So
True.
we won't be issuing anything on that, they weren't very excited about that, but. Okay, everything else? We did the final payment on the water line on Southfield Road. We are in a legal situation with that now, so if any questions are brought to you, just refer them to the town attorney. Anything else? Everybody happy?
Well, the map that they're talking about in there,
Mm-hmm.
is that gonna be like something that would be available to all the planning department members and?
It will appear on the website because that's what it's for. What we're gonna do is we're taking the zoning in the town and then we're gonna develop a map that shows those areas and what can be done in those areas. And so if there's an expansion area in the general plan that talks about commercial on the highway corridors, that map will show the potential of commercial on the highway corridors. It's nothing in stone, it's what could happen based on the general plan. We tried to do this earlier and they didn't want that. But with this latest annexation talk, folks didn't know what was going on with their property, and so they've decided that that's how they want to tackle that. So
You're talking to council?
the council and Mountain Land Associations of Government and our legal.
Okay.
So those three we had big meetings down to TO, and that's what they come up with, that we'll develop this map. It's called, the engineers call it a funny map, because there's nothing to set. It's all what could happen based on the plan. So that map will change every 2 years if the general plan changes in those areas. But it shows what could happen along the corridors. That's just the commercial element. We have different elements, the RA1 on the other side. We have all the different zoning. It shows what could happen.
Is there a possibility that map would be printed off in a big form, the size of our table, to bring to council meetings so we have something to refer to when we are in session?
Yeah?
I would like to see that happen with this map so that we can all stand around it and discuss when it needs to be, and not try to go from memory from a website picture.
Yeah,
Review.
yeah, we can bring one out.
Because I have that.
Of the map, it's being built right now from TO Engineering, and what they're looking at is the general plan, the land use plan, as well as the requirements of the health department and the fire district. So all four of those elements, MAG already put, Mountain Land Association of Government, that's what MAG stands for. They've already put together numbers of future residents and future growth and businesses. So what they did, they took an overall picture of the town and they said, here comes the growth, where are you gonna put it? And so we've outlaid RA1 zone, this is where a lot of residential will be, commercial zones along the highway. And so that map does exist at this point that shows what it is now, what it could be at build out. So basically on the town itself, we're at 66% of build out right now. Stormhaven area is at 100% of build out. Yeah, so they're at 100% of build out, being an approved subdivision. So all that map will incorporate all those different things and just give somebody a look at it. Heber City did that, and Julie Wagstaff was upset because she was brown. She didn't want to be brown. So we met with some big resistance, but that's just what legal says. It would just clear up some of these discussions we've been having of folks that don't know what
Yeah,
is
it's
going
gonna
on.
be helpful too, for sure.
Will it
Yeah.
show current zoning
Whenever it gets
also?
out.
Yes, it'll show current zoning and what future zoning if the general plan speaks to zoning in those areas, what it could be. Be on the website? It will be on the website, yeah.
Because the map that I bring sometimes is, I find very helpful because I'm relatively new, is when we mention people's names, I don't know where we're talking about, so
Oh,
it would really help me as a.
and it still won't have the names on.
No, but you can say it's here, because you know, or Kim maybe knows, but.
Kim knows everything.
It's nice to see
Suzanne
you.
or Kim.
Get me in trouble.
I have a question.
Good night, thank you.
Are you guys still thinking about trying to put our property into Daniels?
The annexation, yes, we will be continuing to secure the borders around the town. All the islands and peninsulas that are in county will be going either into Heber or into Daniel. And that's what the state set up, that's what we're doing, so we're still moving forward with that. So that's still on the, matter of fact, the mayor just asked me about that 2 days ago.
What's your feelings on that now?
I don't want to be in your town. I don't want to be in your town.
All right.
People, Erickson's don't want to be in your town either. Neither does Higgins.
Where do you want to be?
I want to be in the county or I'll be in the city, but I don't want to be in Daniels.
In the county or he?
Yeah, we prefer to just stay in the county.
It sounds like that.
That's not the way it's gonna be.
Because that's not what it's gonna be.
Still in the city.
So we would,
The island, yeah, island and
we
peninsula,
would
they
prefer to
eliminate
be
those.
in Heber City rather than Daniels.
So that'll kind of move forward, we'll be moving, it won't be fast, we just held the public hearing to see what interest was out there. And then, so we're just securing that as I meet with Heber City and the county. And so we're just back and forth, and it may come down to not even an annex, it might just end up with a boundary line agreement between the municipalities. So they'll just draw the line and there it'll be.
Just like they did in '06. Draw
Yeah,
a
and,
line.
and as we did with Charleston.
Yep.
We drew the line, and this is where we agree it should be, and so that's what happens. The overlap of services is just something the state just doesn't like to see at all.
Who
They
draws the
don't want
line?
it to overlap.
Who what?
Who draws the line?
Who drew which line?
Who draws this line?
Who draws this line?
This line will be, anybody can draw the line for annexation. If it's a municipal, they just get together with an interlocal agreement. That's what happened to Charleston. We got together with Charleston, said this should be the line. They said, yep, that should be the line. We signed an agreement, that's where the line is. Yeah.
So if, like this gentleman doesn't want to be a part of Daniel, can he request that from the county and they allow him to stay in the county? How does that work?
No, because that's what the state law is set up to do, is eliminate islands of unincorporated. Because now what you have is you have a municipality here, and the county coming to provide services, snowplow, whatever services those are. It's an overlap of function of government, so it's, the state law rules that out.
I got one more. Why do you want our ground so bad?
I don't think that we want your ground so bad.
Why are you at?
To close that gap.
So if we went to Heber, we can get them to dig us?
Yeah, and I've talked to Tony there, and he's like, before I even started this, I went and met with Tony. He's like, we don't have the infrastructure to service those properties. And so that's why that whole thing went through, and we've talked about it, the interlocal.
Daniels doesn't need it, though, do
What?
they? You don't have the infrastructure to service this.
I don't know that we don't, we're already plowing the road in front of it, we're already providing fire
Nobody
protection.
pushes that road right.
Nobody.
See, that's a problem, Heber City stops.
County, I push the road.
They push it.
Well, we hired the county, so that's why the county keeps doing it, because they're charging Daniel to do it. And that's, so it's an overlap function of government. They don't take that little section out.
Just the plow.
Yeah. Well, Heber City does that, coming down, we own down the middle of the road. You'll notice one side's plowed, one side's not. And so that's what happens, and that's why they don't do that. It's just for that very
It's
reason.
in our.
Yeah, it's just,
It's crazy.
yeah, it is nuts.
So we can agree to draw the line on that side of the island instead of this side,
Right,
since you don't want it that bad.
yeah, I mean, wherever they decide that that's where the line's gonna be, that's what we wanna do. We wanna be amicable about it as we can be. I mean, we just wanna get the thing done, so we're not this thing just sitting on us. So,
Trying to make the state happy.
well, and everybody, I mean, the overlap of services is a big thing, but this, I mean, Mountain Land Association of Government continually looks at those things and it's like, what?
Well, and with a little island like that, there's no way the county's gonna provide any infrastructure.
No, not there.
We're not asking
But
anybody
isn't
for
there-
anything.
I know, I'm just,
Isn't there Daniels on the other
We've
side?
never
Isn't there
asked a
residents
soul for
on the other side of
So-
it?
Left alone.
the only issue would be is it would be much easier for Heber to exercise eminent domain and take your property if they wanted to come for the airport if you're in Heber City.
Yes,
That'd be great.
yeah, because they're having a hard time getting mine. I'm just outside of Heber City. So, it's a little
Our
tougher.
property isn't that close to the airport, though. There's too many other pieces in the way.
Well, and in the
Depends on how big
taxes,
they
I
wanna
mean,
make the
there-
airport.
there's several reasons a person wouldn't want to, and higher
Industrial
taxes.
Parkway Road.
There's a lot of reasons why, but there's reasons for two, so
Yeah,
that's,
Pros and cons and all things.
we're definitely not out trying to grab land or do anything like that. We're just trying to close those gaps.
So
I'm
was
gonna
there,
ask you one more question then. And how come you guys voted not to inform us you was doing this?
Up to what?
Inform us that you was trying to do this.
You got your notice in the mail, just like
No, we
everybody else did.
Oh, no. We never got no notice.
Well, the notices went out. I don't know where they went, but
I don't either, but we never knew about this until I showed up at that meeting.
so the town went beyond the scope. So the legal requirement is we run it in the paper. We went beyond that and sent notices to the property owners.
Let me ask you this question, can you identify your property by latitude and longitude? That's what was in the paper.
The legal description?
Yeah. If you read yours, would you know
No, but that's what's required by law. That's the requirement by law.
it? Yeah, so that doesn't set very well.
So let me ask you this, what's the address on that piece of property we're talking about out back? It's not on Daniel Road. That's the house, right?
No, that's the shop.
That's the shop interest. So, again, that's already in Daniel.
And it wasn't though.
It was.
No, it wasn't, it was the county.
It was the county.
And you guys
And-
come and annex it without any notification.
Well, again,
I'm not here to argue that.
it
We're
wasn't
gonna have
the
to do
town.
that, we'll have to do that somewhere else.
well, you guys keep saying annex, and I'd like to clear that up, because we didn't annex any property.
Then how did it come from Wasatch County into Daniels?
When the county made the town.
Not there.
What do you mean not there? How do you think the town
The
came into
line was
existence?
through there. When we bought that, the county, it was Wasatch County when we bought it.
Okay, I challenge you to find where we annexed that property.
Then how come I got Daniels Township taxes?
You do, because
Yeah.
when they made the town, you've been in since 2006. The county council drew the line. Here's the line,
The
On that 5
Wasatch
acres?
County
all
Council.
the way down, clear down to Erickson's. That straight line went all the way down.
Right,
Split
but
your
not on
parcel,
Daniels
split
Road.
Erickson's, oh
oh
yeah,
yeah, the map's
Right
out
down.
there.
and down.
And that happened before there was a city council or anybody
There was
else
not a
that could
town.
run it. There was no town.
So I challenge you to find that.
I'm probably wrong.
So I challenge you to find that, because you
Probably
keep
wrong.
saying that, I'd like to see that, because we haven't annexed any property over there.
Okay.
So this was the first annexation notice that went out, we got grand reviews on.
Anyway,
Whatever
that,
you say.
that map's out there on the website, and you can look and see what it was. It was the survey that was done, and the county went in and moved property lines all over the place.
Wasatch County.
Wasatch
Right.
County did.
They didn't, Daniels had nothing to do with it.
I understand.
Didn't
Well, we
exist.
did, we was involved trying to make a town. but
Yeah,
But
but
they
I
drew the
mean,
line.
they drew the line, so you
Right.
didn't say, we don't want this.
We
It
didn't
was the
challenge any
county
of their
push,
lines.
they was picking their
We did
own.
not challenge any of their lines, we were trying to make a town.
Mhm.
We'll make the town, we'll deal with whatever we got. So that's what happened.
And I kinda like the town. Just personally.
About 900 people do. So, anyway, you had
So
something.
my question was, isn't there houses that are, I mean, like you said, the house is in Daniels. Isn't there houses on the other side in Daniels?
Yes. All the frontage along
Yeah,
Daniel
so
Road
how
is in there.
how does the Heber
Down
City
to the
come
road.
and scoop somebody in the middle of
Well, it has-
Daniels and pull them out?
Well, it has to be contiguous, and their line is, they're up against county property. So if they take that property next door, then he would be contiguous. Right now, they're not contiguous to Heber. I don't believe you are right now, are you?
I don't know,
Every day I know less, so.
I know it was all county and then all of a sudden it isn't.
I agree, it was.
And then it was 200 foot, and now it's to the front of my shop.
I don't know about the 200 foot. I know there was a restriction on, when it was in the county, there was a restriction on businesses
On the
within 200 feet.
That's where it had to be, so I set it back 200 more feet, so there'd be no
Yeah.
question ever. And now the line's on the front door of my shop.
But, like I say, the last line I know that I know about has been drawn was 2006. So if you can, I'd love to see another line, but I don't think there's one that exists. Because we'd have known if we annexed or if we would have changed the lines. And by the way, thank you for taking care of that issue. You took care of that right away.
The next day.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's something else, right?
It's a,
Yes. Yeah. But thank you. All right.
Are you moving on to something else off of this?
Okay. So, we waited long enough, you found something.
I've had one more thought besides this, but I noticed in one of the emails we got from over the last month, there was something from the Board of Adjustments about, from the Heber City Board of Adjustments about some possible training for
Mhm.
planning.
Yes.
Is everybody aware of that and the dates, and are we gonna be able to make that? What's the training for?
So what they're doing
Do
is
you
they're,
understand all that?
yeah, they're looking at the rules for the Board of Adjustments. There's been some changes from the legislature on how the Board of Adjustment works. And so you'll understand, if you go to the Board of Adjustments, you have 5 items that you have to prove to get a variance. You have to meet all 5 of them, not one, but you have to hit all 5 of them. Those items will be discussed there. And so when you send something, if you make a recommendation and they don't like it and they appeal it, it goes to the Board of Adjustments or to the town council. And so you should be aware that Midway City has changed, since the legislature has changed the nucleus of the Board of Adjustments. It's one person can now be your Board of Adjustments.
Have we had a meeting at the Board of Adjustment?
We have,
When?
Pam was involved with one.
That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
That'd be
Probably
about,
the last one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, I think, and Rob Armstrong
oh,
was another one, and who else? I think we've had 3.
And who are those members still, or council people?
We
Is
have
Anderson on it?
Yeah.
Chris Anderson?
Chris and Renee. Yeah, so I can't remember who they all are, but I'm sure that it's a great position.
But now you only have to have one member?
Now you can structure it as one person, and Midway has that. If they don't like the decision, you go in front of one person and they make that decision, that's their Board of Adjustment. And then from there, you go to court. So if you don't like the Board of Adjustments, you go
Save a
right
lot
to
of
court.
argument.
So,
yes.
based
No.
on that, that's
I
why
say
this
no.
training, that's why they're holding that at the county, is for this training, is the restructure from the legislature. They like to play with that.
So we're sending one person?
Yeah.
So that thought train there on the training,
They only have one person to sue, and so on.
is there options for the planning department to, I feel very inadequate on a lot of what happens in our planning meetings.
Oh, so you're looking for some training
I'm
opportunities?
curious, is there any responsibility of Daniels to train us to know what the heck we're doing, right?
A lot of us.
You know all those books I just brought?
And we've had these little handbooks that you get.
Great time, huh?
Yeah. I just brought
Is that
So
what
if you
I got a
haven't had
handbook.
any of that, you
I got a
ought to
handbook.
Who gave you the handbook and where did
He
it come
did.
from? Oh.
Here, you're gonna get a
I didn't
handbook
ever get a
too.
handbook when I,
You got one?
I think I have one.
You got one?
I'm not sure I have this one. So can I have this one?
Yes,
I have one similar. I'll try this. I'll
that's fine.
read it, put myself to sleep.
These are some of the older units that we have. Here's a subdivision approval book put out by League of Cities and Towns. We don't have a lot of subdivisions, but if you're interested in subdivisions, there's a, that walks you through the
I don't want
process.
no subdivision.
There's webinars at least once a month, put on by League of Cities and Towns.
like during business hours,
Yeah.
Yep.
when normal people are working.
But here's the caveat.
Okay.
You can go on YouTube and look at any one of them at your convenience.
And there have been some really good ones.
It's put on by the League of City and Towns, just
Right,
like this.
just like that. So you can go in and click on that. They have a website that has links to it, and they have a ton of information.
So do they send out little emails?
As soon as you
saying
sign
they're
up for the
having a
first
webinar?
one,
I'm sure.
and you give your email, you'll get a thing every month.
For everything you want and everything you don't want.
For?
Yeah.
So Eric
You
gets
get your
Mel.
enclosed space training and your ladder safety training
Yes.
and all kinds of things.
Yes.
Just like stuff I get from the
And so there's a lot of training available that you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But absolutely, if there's a training that you find you want to go to, the town has the funds set aside. We want you trained as you want to be. Well, we want you more trained than you want to be.
But those are really good and they only are like 45 minutes.
Okay.
And like I say, it's a YouTube, it's no cost, you can just go in anytime.
And it's under Utah League of Cities and Towns.
Yeah, that's where the website is. They have their own website.
And so the YouTube videos, they will guide you if you go to their website?
Yep, there'll be a link on there for the last one. Once you hit that, then you can hit that, subscribe.
Web address right there.
Homepage, www.ulct.org.
There's a ton of information.
Probably more than I ever.
Like I say, every year it changes when the legislature meets.
Did you know I was gonna ask this? You just have these books ready for me to come?
No, they've been in the office for what, 3 months, 4
I
months?
said they're either going in the garbage, and he says, no, my planning needs them. So I put it in my truck.
And if you're lucky enough to get my old one, it's probably already highlighted.
I was hoping, yeah, that'd be great.
I didn't see any highlights in this one.
Okay.
So you were coloring because you were bored in the meeting?
Yeah.
I really color a lot. I have some in red that's I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, so. A lot of items, I get a lot of my information out of here,
To hear being this book,
this book.
this one that you just
There's
gave
a ton
us?
under land use.
Edition church.
Yeah, if you look up under land use,
2016.
there's a ton of stuff. All this I have in red is about water that we require from commercial development.
This is 2010.
Exactly. They talk all about it, what's required, what you can do, and what you can't do.
And
I
they
think
change
I
the
have
rules every year.
They
When I
do,
started this adventure, I think.
they do. You gotta think about it, the legislature's made up of developers,
I did go to
a lot of
trade.
developers, a lot of lawyers. so.
In Salt Lake.
Okay, is that enough on the,
Yeah, that's enough.
okay. That takes us to
Where's the agenda? Oh, there it is.
minute
Minute
approval.
approval.
Everybody get a chance to review the minutes?
Yep.
Any changes or additions? Seeing none, call for the vote, all in favor? Any-
Motion to approve it, to begin with.
All motion. No,
There you go.
Good thing you're keeping us legal there.
That's right. Okay, got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second, any discussion now? It's good we had a discussion to get a motion. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Pam,
Abstaining, I wasn't here. I
well,
don't know what you talked about.
okay, I guess motion fails for lack of a vote. You have to have 4 to make a motion.
I'm sure it was fine.
Didn't you say you just read the minutes then?
I did read the minutes.
So that's what we're approving is the minutes.
Okay, okay,
I'll
let's,
call for the vote again, all in
Thank you.
favor? Any opposed?
I did read.
Awesome. Motion carries, minutes are approved.
You're very well.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
There we go. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Do we need to discuss that? All in favor? Okay, we stand adjourned till our next meeting.
We're having so much fun.
April of next year, you should know that the room is taken, so we will be on a different date in April.
In April.
Yes.